Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. Carrying directly onto the hubs and the manner in which they are not manufactured but located, I had to create the porcupine for this. I had to do it in reverse because this approach doesn't use a porcupine to create the points on the dome. I had to back engineer it. One of the things I noticed was that while from the theoretical center of the dome to the apex of this and this, while that's the same, and of course it's going to be the same there and at this point, these other 3 points, or actually 2 because that's the same one, these aren't the same length. And I thought that was going to be a problem because without it being the same length, the angle of the hub, the axis of the hub, I thought was going to be different. As it turns out, it was a red herring, and it works out just fine. So I drew a circular hub on my dome. And when I started looking at it, I thought, oh, that is actually not bad. Through a wee bit of luck, the height above the surfaces, now I'm not too sure whether this will work with the struts as well, but the height above the surfaces is actually, the difference is quite minor, only about 3 millimeters. So on this hub, I don't know what it is on the other hubs because this is like a bit of a revelation for me just on this one hub. That's actually a real plus. Now it may be different on the other positions, and that's something that we will work through, but for just now I'll work on this and it will be based on the quadra grid dome construction method. I think I'll have to come up with a better name for it than that, but the quadra dome, and we'll see what benefits these may have. It also came to my attention that I noticed this weeks ago, that I need to settle on a particular height for the leg, because every time you change the height, the dimension of the legs, you technically adjust the axis for the hubs. So if you made one of those hubs where the sides are angled, that would have to be a new hub for every time you change it. Now that alone, while they do look nice, I've got to confess, that alone really wants me to go with the circular hubs, because after all they remain a circle and it's the end of the struts that need to be cut, and I can work timber better than I can work metal. And with one of those inclinometers where you can stick it on your blade and digitally alter the blade until it gets to the right degree and tenth of degree or even hundredths of a degree, I think that's going to be easier in the end than trying to manufacture hubs that keep on changing on you if you wind up making a different type of orientation or dome. So yeah, that's a point. However, that will mean devising a method or following a method that can create a very strong connection to the circular hub. I've seen an example where the dome has failed, and I'm sure the person had done a fantastic job in making it, but ultimately it failed. So the need, and then I've seen a lot of those big domes have actually got set in place threaded steel sleeves into which a metal bolt can be screwed in. But that's getting a little bit technical, and the process for that may be a bit beyond me, or it would require specific engineering. yeah, I hesitate. Anything that goes down the engineering route that you feel necessary, you really do have to consider whether it's worth it, or the fact that you're going to have to pay a registered engineer to come up with a viable solution. You do not want to create a structure that is going to fail because of your inadequate fixing of the strut to the hub. And that in itself has a lot of merit, pointing towards making the triangles as a single unit and fixing them together. That negates the hub attachment issues. It's got a lot going for it. Okay, that was just a real brief one, and I will come back once I've done a little bit more work on the hub orientation and the method of doing that. Radio, I'll see you later. Bye.